Coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area. It's time for Zig in the Zone with Ralph Zig Tyko.
Hey, I am back. You are comfortably zoned with me, the Zigzag Man. Gonna stop rocking for a second. And joining me in studio is Paulie B.
Wait, hold on. So it should be the other way around. Welcome to Zig in the Zone, and joining me is Ralph Zig Tyko.
Oh, I don't know
what the
what
heck's
the hell.
going on, dude?
I
You made
am
it to the city.
I am here in the big city.
You're in the big city.
And if you listen to that music on the intro,
I love the new music on the intro.
is the new music great? The composer and the performer on that was
No
our
composing.
guest,
One of the many musicians on that track.
but mostly Bernie Rose. Welcome back, Bernie.
What's
To the
happening,
zone.
Bernie?
Thank you. Everything's cool. How you doing?
Yeah,
Doing
thank
well,
you
buddy.
again for the music, and really means a lot to me. So
Well, my pleasure. Just
Okay.
to get it right, I didn't write that piece, but
No, that's just a piece of blues riff right there, right?
that's all it is. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
all
like
we-
that's the intro to every blues riff I've ever heard.
Pretty much. You know, a little slow blues.
Okay. Bernie, we're going to talk a little Mets today, but I want to talk about your brother and just he's gone through the final stages of
ALS.
ALS. And there's no way to paint a good picture of that whatsoever. So
No.
he's got love around him. He's surrounded by his girls, 2 daughters, a lovely grandchild, and a super wife who's been a partner for 44 years.
Right.
And, we've known this has been coming on now 2 years. April was 2 years we found out about this. And it's still a mindfuck every day. You
Yeah.
can't. So we just want to wish him the best. And Bernie, if you could say a few words about your bro, maybe that Paulie doesn't know. He was my first friend when I moved to Northridge, and a co-op in Jackson Heights, New York, and
Right.
Bernie, and were you born yet?
Nope. Moved in when I was 6 months old.
Oh, wow.
Born in Brooklyn. But, our building was the first one to open out of all.
And we were in the next building, and we had the same apartment in that building. We were in apartment 201. You were in apartment 201 in your building. And I became fast friends with your bro. Just a lifetime worth of sharing humor, sports, growing up. It was just wonderful having him as a friend. And watching you as a kid learn the piano, listening to you, that's what makes the introduction so important to me. If you would elaborate on what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I remember growing up with you guys, my brother and you and all the guys, a group of friends that you had.
Yeah.
That were 4 years older than me, or 4 or 5 years older than me, and there was quite a group of guys, just like we all did.
Hey, one of those guys was Ralph Levinson, your friend's
Right.
older brother was Shelley our
Right.
friend. And you were my brother's age, so I think you were in a few classes, grades together. Or,
Now, Bruce is a year older than me.
oh, really? Okay.
So actually, we were not. But uh, so, I mean, I knew your brother, but I
Yeah.
didn't know him well because we were not in the same grade. And so, that, when you're growing up, that 1 year is a big
Yeah.
difference.
You know how many kids we had growing up? We had 60, how many buildings? 16 buildings in 4 square blocks with a schoolyard in between. And it was post war. So basically, most parents had 2 kids, 2.3 kids. And we just had companions going all the time. We
Oh, yeah.
It was a great place to grow up.
And
Everybody was
so,
from Brooklyn, the Bronx, and we all migrated to Queens. And
I kind of
well,
remember that. So I was a generation afterwards, but I remember the 2.3 kids. I was the point 0.3 kid. And so and then I used to chase my brother around because all his friends were the cool ones. They were 5 years older than me. But I always got the, oh wait, I hear mom calling you. And you would turn to listen to see if mom was calling you, and they would ditch you. They'd go, run, run, run,
yeah.
go. And so I
Well,
wasn't the cool kid.
Bernie was a younger generation, but you guys were really cool because you played music, and
had fun with it, that's for
you
sure.
had
Yeah.
fun with it, and basically you took it through your life. That's been your passion through your life. And I got to mention another thing. Your uncle was a famous sports writer for the AP,
Right.
and he got um, Mert and I tickets to everything that was in town.
Of course.
We had the Knicks, the Rangers, the Titans, football giants. Great place for sports. So Murray Rose, thank you in heaven. You really fueled the passion of our sports because it was always what we discussed.
You know,
And
my, yeah, my brother and I, we were always pretty close from being little to, growing up right into that. We went to so many games.
mhm.
You know, he might have taken you guys to some games when I was maybe too young, if that's possible. But he and I went to a lot of games. And then when you guys went into service, then I was taking all my friends. Um, so we saw a lot of games. We go back to the NBA when there was double headers at the Garden. You see the Warriors play the Pistons in the first game, and the Knicks play the Royals in the second game.
Right. And
And
once in a while, you get
Oscar would put 40
The
in.
Harlem Globetrotters would come in as well. Reminds me, you mentioned the Knicks and those days. In 1959, Wilt was a rookie. He was tearing the league apart. And they came in to play the Knicks. And Mert and I went to a game at night. So we were 13 years old. New York was different. You could just get on the subway, be safe, and what have
Yeah,
you. But we witnessed a triple overtime New York Knick victory over the Warriors. And it was, we had two things in our mind. Our parents were going to worry, no way to call all this. And what we were seeing was unbelievable. Johnny Green got the rebound, the final rebound to keep the Knicks, give the Knicks the victory. And we walked out of there and there was nothing to say. It was just one of, I'd say, 50 games that went to see over the years. Your dad liked sports too. He was a boxer.
Yeah, he boxed in the Golden Gloves. Geez, I've got the medal in the other room. I forget what year it might have been. But he played some semi-pro basketball. So he was an athlete,
Yeah.
in his younger days. And so he even covered some of the games once in a while for the AP when somebody else couldn't. I remember going to Yankee Stadium before the Mets were even in existence and sitting in the press box with my dad when he had to cover the game.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
That was something I had no idea. He worked for the AP. I knew that, but I had no idea he was like a stringer going along.
Yeah.
As
I don't
he-
know how many times that happened. It wasn't very often, obviously.
Yeah. But you have the memory of sitting in the press box at that time.
Oh, yeah. It was a thrill for me. I mean, I probably was 7 or 8 years old. Who knows? And of course, the Yankees were in the World Series just about every year.
Absolutely.
In the 50s and early 60s. And so it was a thrill. Even though I was a Dodgers fan, I was a huge Mickey Mantle fan. And everybody loved Casey Stengel, especially when he went to the Mets. And Yogi, I mean, we knew them all.
Yeah.
So and I rooted for the Yankees in the World Series and they weren't playing the Dodgers. And, so when I was, under 10 years old, the Yankees weren't playing the Dodgers in the World Series. Because in 1955, I was only 4, so I don't really remember. I certainly remember 63.
Hey, let me tell you how I remember. 55, the Giants won in 54. I was a Giant fan, and the Dodgers were playing the Yankees in 55. And it was the morning of the final game. And there was a kid that lived across the street from me. Do you remember Neil Silva?
I do. I remember the name, and I think I could picture his face too.
Yeah, he was a Dodger fan, and we were both 10, 9, 10 years old, and I'm standing across the street with Neil, saying, "At this moment, Neil, who's the world champion?" The Dodgers and Yankees were playing Padres against Tommy Burns later in the day. And Neil says, "The New York Giants." Good afternoon. And that was it. And that's what, sticking to the world champion Giants as long as I could. And looking back, I have to be happy for the Dodgers winning in 55. Because they went through a lot of years being bridesmaids with great teams.
Yep,
Campy and Gil Hodges, Carl Furillo. It was just,
come on, Jackie Robinson.
Right, exactly. Growing up in New York, it was a birthright, almost a birthright, to say you were in the World Series every year, except for when did they? Oh, every year. Dodgers won in '59, but they were already in the band. Did you have a notion when they moved to be a Met fan, or when they came in, or did you stick with them as the guy with the Giants?
My brother did not. Everybody was so angry, and I guess I probably have said on the show before. I've said it a number of times. I was too young to be angry, I guess. I was a Dodgers fan, and so they moved. They didn't disappear.
Yeah, it wasn't the players who made the decision.
Exactly.
it was O'Malley and
And the ins and outs of O'Malley and the
Robert
whole thing with
Moses and
Ro-
Wagner. Yeah,
Robert Moses and all of that.
you were too young for that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I remember in 1959 going, how do you like that? All those years, nothing in Brooklyn except for one. And they go out there and in 2 years, they're champions. But I
right.
loved it.
And then they became really good with Koufax and Drysdale, both of whom
They should
played
have
with the
won
Brooklyn
more.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Um, but as
They're
I was
like this
saying, we
Dodgers
had
team. They should have won more. But we'll see. This Dodgers team can still yet win more. But
yeah. Break down the Dodgers a little bit, and then I want you to break down the Mets for me. What's going on this year, if you would?
I see some similarities. Certainly, with the addition of Soto, even though he hasn't quite performed at the level you want, the top three certainly is excellent. Uh, and and then you got your middle guys, and then the bottom of the order, or there's 3 or 4 guys on each team that aren't performing. And so I look at them as very similar in that regard. Um, and we'll have to see, how the pitching shapes up as the year goes on. Dodgers already having pitching injuries again, which is mind blowing. They're using bullpen games already in the first couple of days of May is crazy. But be that as it may, and then the Mets have some guys pitching quite well that statistics show they don't do for the whole season.
Right,
So
McGill and Peterson and what have you. Got to look at them with a grain of salt until they do it for more than a month.
Exactly.
So,
Let me ask you a question, like with a guy like Muncy, or we could look at somebody on your team, like Lindor, 1 week or 2 weeks is nothing, because then he got it together. I mean, that first 10 days he was horrible, but you knew he's going to perform. But a guy like Muncy, when do you say enough is enough? Or certainly Conforto. I didn't like that signing at all. And you know about Conforto.
oh, yeah.
An original Met. I did not like the signing, although his stats, at least they come out to like 250 for the season, maybe 20, 25 home runs. But he's horrible.
Well, conversely, I didn't like and don't like the Soto signing for the Mets, but I realized that it goes deeper than just what's on the field. The Yankees and the Mets were going up against this thing, and in New York at this point, they're making business decisions that are affecting the teams. So they're wrong. The decisions are wrong, but they're right for public relations and to keep the rivalry going. It's what's wrong with the sport. It's all business at this point.
Yeah, maybe it always was, I mean,
Yeah.
and look at how it was before they challenged the reserve clause and got free agency. It was still business. How do you tell Mickey Mantle you're cutting him $10,000 when he still hit 317, had 135 RBIs, and
After Triple Crown MVP.
40 or 50 home runs because he did better the year before, won a Triple Crown?
Right.
That's insanity. Look, that would never happen now. They'd give him half the team.
Right. But that half would be divided among a lot of players making big bucks at this point.
Well, yeah.
What it does, it removes the humanity, like you're talking about the Dodgers. you grew up in Brooklyn in those years, you go to the supermarket with Gil Hodges. You'd see Jackie there and what have.
Sure.
Players aren't human today. They're behind fence,
Yeah.
gated communities, and the
The
money.
guys from the Jets in those early years, they got jobs in the off season, I recall.
Right. I can remember seeing pictures of Phil Rizzuto and Yogi Berra working as in a clothing store. Their job,
Right.
and they weren't executives. They were a small little clothes. They put labels on the clothes to make a living. Yet they always made. Let's not lose sight of the fact the athletes always made more than the working class citizen. They were
Right. So yeah.
they did. So a lot of these players who were working, they were working to live up to a lifestyle that they created themselves,
That's true. That's true.
good, bad, or indifferent. Bernie, what? Before I forget, you mentioned on the phone that you've got some gigs coming up that.
Give us those
Yeah.
shameless plugs, in
Yeah.
other words. Throw it out.
Yeah,
at us.
what's going on? Where are you working? Because
Just some local places. I'm playing with the Forever Eric band at the Two Drunken Goats on Friday the 23rd. And then we're playing at the Bamboo Room in Lake Worth in July, I think the 18th. I've got the Swamp Cats, the Florida Swamp Cats, playing at Grumpy Gary Saturday the 24th. And then we got a couple of, we're going to be up at Earl's in Sebastian, Earl's Hideaway at the end of the summer. So, we just got a few things going right now.
okay, tell me how it came about that you made the recording for us, which was on YouTube, playing in a gig at the Red Lion in the
Greenwich
Village.
Village, yeah.
How did you get the gig? How did
It was just a couple of songs. There was a jam, open jam. A friend of mine who was a snowbird and goes back and forth all the time. Dan, Bluesy Dan. He says, "Come on." He records. He records everything. Videos. That's the correct terminology. Everything, and he just reached number 5,000 on YouTube.
Oh wow!
What, that video?
No.
Or his subscribership, or his subscribership?
Probably hit 100 of them. Who knows? But well, that might be inflated. I don't know. I just jam with him. I've done some gigs with him over the years. I didn't know him in New York. He grew up in the Five Towns out by Cedarhurst. But I didn't meet him till I was down here about 20 years ago. But he lives in Manhattan, and he's got a place in Boca, and he goes back and forth. So he goes there every Monday when he's in New York. And I happened to be up there on vacation for 5 days. So we went down and we just did a couple of songs, that's all.
All right. Well, I know you were proud of it. It's on YouTube. So how would people find it on YouTube?
Or anything that you do. Do you have a channel on YouTube?
I've never gone that route. There's probably a ton of things that I'm in. I wouldn't even know where to tell you how to do it. There's the Florida Swamp Cats. You can find things there. There's, I've been in a number of different bands. There's probably stuff with J.C. Crossfire Band, the 56 Deluxe Band, maybe even the Boathouse Blues Band. which goes back 20 years already.
So have you ever documented any of your stuff? Because you did, you also did oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm not, sales. What am I thinking of? What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Jingles and stuff, right?
No, I haven't done it.
Oh, I thought you had done sales jingles. And maybe I'm mixing you up with another one of Ralph's friends that's a musician also.
Yes, and a Dodger fan.
So have you ever documented any of the music that you've done, or has it always been someone else?
It's always been someone else. I never really bothered with that. And maybe I should have. People have sent me clips, some that I really liked, and never even realized, because I'm not a tech guy really, that I could have pushed the save button. So over the last 20 years, a lot of stuff that I enjoyed seeing, I could have had and I don't have, and they're out there in cyberspace somewhere.
Well, if you could pick them up, we may be able to help you organize them a little bit, and you can get a record of it. Is there a way you could get us the clips?
I don't know.
I'm currently looking to see what comes up if I just look up his name, because if people put him in the description like they did with the Red Lion gig, it will pop up.
A lot of Dan stuff will come up, but a lot of that is spotty stuff because they're jams and you don't know who you're going up with, you don't know who you're playing with,
And it's funny because when I type in Bernie Rose, you know what comes up a lot? And it's not Bernie Sanders. He's like the fifth one.
It's Albert Brooks.
Yeah, is Albert Brooks. So was his little dummy Bernie Rose? I remember him doing the ventriloquist thing. Was that Bernie Rose?
I don't think so.
Why does it come up with Albert Brooks?
He did that movie, The Drive, or what was it? Was that what it was called?
Yeah, Drive.
Drive. He played like a mob guy.
Oh, and his character's name was Bernie Rose.
A Jewish mob guy.
Albert Brooks comes from a very famous family of, first of all, his brother was
Super Dave.
Super Dave.
His brother Super Dave?
Yes. And
really? Why don't I know this? Okay, good. See, this is why I come on In The Zone, because I need to be educated.
And there's another Einstein. They were originally named Einstein.
That was his name. Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein. And they have either an uncle or a dad who is a very famous writer, wrote a book on the New York Giants, and I can't think of it.
And I'm going to look it up while you keep talking.
Look it up. But the book, you know how each club that you could think of, like you go to the Yankees, you could get Dynasty by Golenbach. A definitive book on the Yankees of those terms. Or anything, the Bums, for instance, by Golenbach. Well, the book he wrote just came from the Willie's time, about Willie growing up as a ball player, and it is a great book about what it was like. It wasn't Jackie Robinson time, but it wasn't much different in 1951, and what players went through in terms of racial abuse and bullshit that they put up with in hotels on the road, restaurants on the road. So this is our lifetime, and it was.
That would be an interesting read, yeah.
Can I throw you guys a rope because I'm going down a wormhole and I need help? Okay. Jesus. So in the last 2 minutes or whatever, I've learned a lot about Albert Brooks. Yeah, he's definitely born into a show business family. Even his dad, Albert Einstein, yes, that's right, was in the Jewish show business family in Beverly Hills. Thelma Leeds, better known as Nee Goodman, an actress, also an actor. Harry Einstein was a radio comedian who performed on the Eddie Cantor show. Albert Einstein, or Harry Einstein, Albert's dad, was actually cousin to the famous physicist, Albert Einstein.
Oh, he was?
Yes. So there you go. The things you learn. The things you learn. Look at that. Knowledge. Knowledge, folks.
Well, if you're listening, everybody, bibliography. Willie's Time by Einstein. One of the definitive books I read growing up as a kid that fueled my passion, helped fuel my passion. And I want to say, we've been talking about the Head Start program that people could participate in that will bring books to kids who aren't going to be exposed to them. So what I'd like you to do, if you're thinking about this out there, is wrap up some new or slightly used books, children's books, and bring them. This no big thing. Just bring a box every so often to the Head Start program where you are, or warm clothing for the winter for kids.
Yeah, like San Francisco, I always go through my closet every summer so that when I come here in the winter, I just start handing out jackets. Even your dog agrees. Even your dog agrees.
Yeah, would you excuse me one second?
Oh yeah, it's fine. And don't worry, my dog's all excited now. My dog's going, ooh, what's happening, dog?
Folks, support the Head Start program.
Oh yeah, let's put that slide up here. Zig says, folks.
All right, here it is. Zig says, give, and it doesn't have to be money. Like I say, it could be books, it could be clothing, but anything you give, you're giving to kids who really need a head start. And that's every kid growing up. Because what they're trying to do, the government today, is unbelievable.
Well, the gravy train is over, folks.
Yeah, big gravy train. You know what?
So give to your local Head Start program because your government's not going to give to it. That's right, headstart.gov. Go there today before they take down the website and all the funding.
And also, if you want to give some money, it doesn't have to be a bunch. Give to your local ACLU. They're fighting what the craziness that Trump is putting us through in the courts, and that's the only thing that's going to save us. That's going to be our checks and balance. And other than that, I must say we are fucked and feathered.
Well, no, if that doesn't work, join your local militia today. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do anything I want that free airplane trip to El Salvador. You've been telling me about it. You say I can go there absolutely free. I'm ready today, folks. I've even written on pen on my knuckles, MS-13.
And they'll put you up when you get there.
They'll put me up there. I need a haircut. Oh, stop it, Paul. You're really just pushing the buttons. No, I thought we lived in a free country. We'll stop talking about this. Anyway, back to the show.
So there's a pretty cool video from about 15, maybe getting close to 20 years ago already. I don't know. On YouTube, Paul, if you put and I don't know that the order matters. If you put Bernie Rose, Andy G, and 56 Deluxe, there's a little cool clip from a band I played with, you know, like 18 years ago or something. I don't know what you can do with that. It's only one clip, but you.
It's like a 3-minute clip. Andy G with the 56 Deluxe with Bernie Rose.
Yeah, you find it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's it. Now, what that is, the 56 Deluxe band was doing a show, and Andy, and I must say, he just passed away about 2 months ago, or less. So we were all sorry to hear that. He was a great drummer. Local guy for a while, then he went back out to California. But a hell of a drummer. And we had him sit in for a song or two, whatever. And I guess his girlfriend, probably Linda at the time, videoed it. And so I know that's out there when you put those three.
Yeah, I have it here. Let me see if I can cue it up, but we're going to keep talking for a minute or two because I'm going to do it on the sly and see if I can do it like a pro. So we'll keep the conversation going, but I'll come back to Andy G drums with the 56 Deluxe with Bernie Rose vocals and keys.
Yeah, we didn't even, we just did it off the cuff. He was sitting in, and then they gave him a solo. It was Kenny's band. He was the leader of that band. This guy Kenny sang. We did a lot of originals and blues. This is just an old blues song that we were doing.
Now,
me, because I was singing that particular song.
While I'm playing around and doing this, I'm going to be doing multiple things, but tell us the maybe the time on stage where everything connected for you, like
Great.
Like you said, even we were just talking about the jam night. Has there ever been a night where you felt like this is the perfect lineup of musicians? I would love to be doing this forever, like with these guys. Have you ever had that kind of? There's a lot of bands that knew that the first time they ever played together, oh my God, this is it.
No, that happens. It has happened. I probably have had that happen on a number of occasions. Or just bands that I was in where sometimes it was just boom, and you have a great time, and it sounds great, it's having a ball. But I don't know. There's been some moments, but I never really kept anything together all that long. Where I don't even know what I'm trying to say. There's been some moments, but I can't really.
Nothing so definitive that is like to keep the band together.
Hey, Paulie.
Let me do this. So let me play this. This is Andy G drums with the 56 Deluxe with Bernie Rose vocals and keys. Let's see if I can pull this off.
Sax player playing with us, Doug, who had never heard. He was fairly new at that time in South Florida, from the Philly area, in New Jersey, and he had never heard Andy. And Kenny was going to give him a solo. I didn't even know. He had to yell at me because I was going to take a solo. Let Andy play. And then if you play the whole thing, you'll see Doug comes over to me and he's saying, "This guy is unbelievable," because he had never heard him before. And Andy was a hell of a drummer. And you actually see that on the clip. So it's kind of interesting.
All right, so let's play that clip. We're going to be on hot mic, so definitely no talking, but here we go. That's how you do it. back here live in studio. And we did it as good as we could because that was filmed in 240p. So and then we lost a little bit of audio, but your little jam was perfect. That worked out.
I didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear anything?
Oh, wait till you hear it.
Oh, okay.
We'll send you a clip.
Yeah, so you'll be able to watch it. So.
I thought you might get a kick out of that.
No, I definitely. That it really was super. Thanks, Vaughn.
Kenny was a hell of a guitar player. I was in that band about 5 years. We had some fun.
Good. I want to elaborate on what Paulie asked. Was there ever a real moment on stage where you glowed? You know what I mean? You are modest. Your whole family has always been incredibly modest. Come out and give me a moment where you went, whoa, I am something else.
I'm in my element.
Yeah.
You know something? One thing that sticks out goes back almost 50 years.
Oh, well, that's okay. It's okay to look back at the glory days. There's nothing wrong with that.
I was auditioning drummers and I had a studio on 8th Avenue in Manhattan. And I had a guitar player and a bass player, and I needed a drummer. I had just finished a demo that I was bringing, or I brought to WEA, that's Warner Electra in Atlantic. And there's just 4 songs of mine that I wrote, arranged, produced, and recorded, sang and everything. And it was like 79, 80, maybe 1980. So it's really only about 45 years ago. And long story short, I was having a ball. There was only one thing wrong, and I won't even get into the guitar player. He started screwing up in the middle of this whole thing. When I didn't know he was having drug issues, something that I never did. But what was happening was, up to that point, it was so good. And people were coming out of the woodwork. People were calling up their drummer friends at home, telling them, you got to get down here and audition for this band. And the place was packed, and people were poking their heads in the door and coming in, and I felt on top of the world.
There you go.
At that moment, I said, this is going to happen.
I love that story, Vaughn.
Of course, I never got that record contract, and I never recorded those songs other than the demo that I did at that time. But I was on cloud 9 for most of that evening, until I started seeing the guitar player all of a sudden. And I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? And that was a shame. He ended up having some drug issues from that point on. But that's one story that I haven't thought of in a very long time.
Good. Why don't we end with you? I can't think of a better story that you'll come up with between now and then. So come back again real soon, Vaughn.
This was a lot of fun. We never really talked much about the Mets and the
Dodgers. When you think about it,
What's to say?
Not what's to say. Yeah, by comparison to what we talked about, who cares? We'll do that another time.
That's sad. We're in May, And we're going, Mets, there's always next season.
Well, no, they're playing. Dodgers and Mets are playing damn good ball overall.
So
Mets have been floundering. Last week or so, it hasn't gone great, but they're hanging in. They won yesterday.
Yeah.
But more important, I got to share with you, Bond.
absolutely, I appreciate
Listen,
your
and
time.
I just want to say that Mert knows, that you wish him well and that you're thinking about him all the time, and he appreciates that a lot.
Yeah.
I was just up there. I saw him on his birthday, and it was his birthday 3 weeks ago. I guess 3 weeks ago tomorrow. Anyway, long story short.
Peg puts me through to him from time to time.
That's good. Yeah.
And
he said it's a good idea. Yeah.
we tell each other we love each other. That's all we can do. And
That's all you can do.
And it's not like I want him out of pain. That what.
Yeah. Well, what they're giving him does manage it. And at least most of the time he's not in pain because of what they do.
Right.
Unfortunately, there are days or there are moments, obviously, with his problems, but he's hanging in there, and what can you do? You have to hang in there. There's not much choice, but
what it does, basically, it takes the sprinkles off the ice cream cone of life.
That's a hell of a way of putting it, but that's about it. And we love him, and we don't want him to be in misery.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And as long as they can manage that, and he can enjoy the Met games and stuff on TV, then that's good. At least there's some enjoyment still, because that's a horrible disease.
Yes.
You don't want anybody to have that.
And again, we talked about this. It was brought on by Agent Orange and the government. We both enlisted for the same recruiter in the Air Force. Marty enlisted after I did. I got to go to California. He went to Vietnam. And it wasn't just the Agent Orange. He and I would communicate on cassettes back and forth. I lost that tape. And I don't have it. But there were times when he'd have to bunker down. They were being attacked by mortars and shit. We were kids, 19 years old, 20 years old. We shouldn't have been put through that. He shouldn't have been put through that.
Well, you know how I feel, and I feel the same way. That war never should have happened.
No.
There was a lot of mistakes made, and unfortunately, nobody still owned up to it.
No. And no one accepts responsibility for it.
No.
And it was based on oil and natural shit that we wanted to imperialize. With the idea, they would stop communism. That was
bullshit.
That was absolute bullshit. What I would have joined willingly if they were on second base at Shea Stadium attacking us, but it wasn't that way. And I had to join to keep from going to Vietnam, and that would not have stopped me if I didn't do some little shady stuff to stay in California. But,
Yeah. No, I
well,
was, I don't want to get into the whole Vietnam thing again. But
yeah.
the bad part about it is, as much as we were against the war, as much as people ended up there who shouldn't have to be there, but to have it come back after all these years.
And be unappreciated by these guys who I would drive the returning veteran, the returning airman from the base that I was stationed at in Fairfield to the San Francisco airport. And I'd see them come back and shattered.
No.
Absolutely. Well,
All these young guys that lost their lives and came back totally fucked up, if I can say it that way, from this war that never should have been.
yeah.
It's pretty messed up.
Okay.
Well, so hug a veteran. If you know a veteran, thank them for their service. Hug a veteran. Realize that we're all going through something out there, no matter what your situation is. And
Absolutely.
and support your local human being, your fellow human being. Reach across the aisle. I think we all need a hug right now.
Yeah.
Democrats hug a Republican. Republicans hug a Democrat. Libertarians hug a tree. I don't know, but do whatever. I'm sorry.
It's supposed to be that way, but it's just not that way.
That was one of the jokes I heard the other day. They go, "How do you tell?" And you could tell the era the joke was written in. He goes, "How do you tell if it's a hippie or a gorilla?" And he goes, "Well, you throw him a banana, and if he smokes it, he's a hippie."
Hey,
There
Barn,
you go.
So,
his little vape.
yeah, his little virtual hit ski.
There you go.
It's been good hanging out with you, Bernie. Thank you for hanging out. You're coming back again, right?
Always good to talk with you guys, and we'll do it again.
I love kibitzing with you, even if we have nothing to talk about.
Sounds good. All right.
All right.
Right on. Bernie Rose joining us. Thank you again. Zig, you got anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Well, I just want to thank you for putting this all together and keeping it that way.
I try to do that. We try to do this at Edge Studios. We want to help people. We want to help people communicate. It doesn't matter if you're sitting at home in a basement, you got an iPad, you got a phone. We can help you communicate with the rest of the world. So reach out to us here at Edge Studios. It's edgestudios@gmail.com, or you can check us out on the web at edgestudiosonline.com. And definitely go subscribe and like this broadcast of Zig in the Zone. It's on the Comfortably Zone Network on YouTube. You can see us on Edge Studios Online on Facebook. We do a replay of this, but you guys support us any way you can. I might even throw down a little QR code somewhere there that you can give. So
Beautiful. I just want to say that there's a group of podcasters on Facebook who debate whether or not audio podcasting has become a thing of the past, quote, their thing, and why video has taken over. And I invite these podcasters to visit your studio, you and your studio.
well, here's the greatest thing, Zig. We're in San Francisco. We go both ways.
Well,
We do it with audio, we do it with video. That's right. Even after we do a video cast of your stream, we rip the audio so you can upload it to your RSS feed and have it on all those podcasting services. Why? Just like print media, we don't want it to disappear. I think audio podcasting or audio broadcasting is a great thing. I don't think we should get away from that. I think we should keep one foot in that analog world that is audio.
absolutely.
And
Right.
so we do it both ways. We go both ways here in San Francisco. So reach out to us at Edge Studios Online. We'll help you make that dream a reality. So
I just want to say we don't go this way that often.
we don't go this way that often. Well, I'm doing this little, I'm trying to get that hip action in. I'm trying to do whatever I can. But for myself, the Zig Man, we're out, bud.
We are out. Thank you, friend.
Absolutely. And, check out some of the other programming we have here at Ed Studios. And until next week, stay in the zone.
And check out Monica.
Yeah, Monica. Check out all the programming we do here at Ed Studios Online, including Monica Thomas Exploration with Monica, LFG, Ghetto Poet, Junkyard Rat. We have Mixed Collective coming up. And What Is It? That's right. A whole bunch of programming. Check it all out. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Adios.
Monday 1 to 3 p.m. Junkyard Rat. Monday 4 to 6 p.m. Ghetto Poet. Tuesdays 11 to 1 p.m. Zig in the Zone. See you on our channel. Edge Studios Online. Keep standing up.